Good morning, everybody. This is Vince with Listings to Lead. This is going to be our class on Facebook and Google Ads. Thanks, Emily. Sounds like you guys can hear me. See everything. Let me point out to you, if you can, in the kind of navigation bar of GoToMeeting, I have a tab that says More. And if you open up More, you're going to see that there are a couple of PDF guides, and I really want you to download, print both. I'm going to open up the one that says Facebook and Google Ads, and because that's really our class today. The other one is Top Tools for More Listings. And I think most of you would like to get more listings, and definitely, that's why you should print both of these. And yeah, so let's get into it. First of all, let me ask real quickly, who here, because this is on Facebook and Google Ads, if you could give me a yes or no, how many of you have run ads on Facebook? And also, how many of you have run ads on Google? You could just give me a yes or no there. And I'll say this as I wait for the answers. A lot of people have tried running ads on Facebook and they really don't have much success. If you're actually running it inside of Facebook, there's a lot of buttons that you have to click, and you might not know what buttons those are, right? And oddly enough, I think one of the first things people learn about Facebook is boosting. And boosting is cool if you want buyers, not cool if you want listing. It just doesn't really work. And so the nice thing about our platform is that we actually have software from Facebook and from Google, and we turn running ads into 2 clicks. And all those things that you need to know how to check, you actually don't need to know, because we check them all in the background, software code, so that it's very difficult to run a ad that is not successful. But I haven't really gotten any response from anybody on who's run ad. I'm going to go, okay. Emily wants to know more about Google. So we'll definitely dive into that. But what I do want to say is, while we make it very easy to run ads, there's still lots of ways of making mistakes. And so let's jump into it. Before we dive into the nuts and bolts of Facebook and Google, I do want to point out that there are a lot of resources for you to learn about our platform. And one is, just like you are here today, you can join our live classes. I'm sending everybody a link right now to this page, because every class that we do, we record. And there are a couple that I highly recommend that you watch. I think Get Started is good for everybody. I think Top Tools for More Listings, you should watch literally 2 or 3 of these calls, because you're going to want more listings. It looks like to me that's going to be even more important this year than it has been in the past. And so we have a lot of ways of doing that. The reason why I'm asking you to watch 2 or 3 versions is I don't say exactly the same thing every time. And so definitely want you to have the game down. I'm going to give you a link here to Lead Gen Webinars. I'm not sure how you found this call, but I'm going to send this to everyone right now. This is where you can sign up for all of our live class. You want to ask questions, and I'm here to answer questions. And then our mastermind group. I can't give you a link to this because you have to be in it. And the way you get into our mastermind group is you have to ask support, and they give you a link, and that will help you get in. So let's talk a little bit, since we're here in the mastermind group, let's talk a little bit about Facebook. And we've been doing this for 14 years. Listings to Lead's been here for 14. And Facebook's advertising platform, I think, is 10 or 12 years old. So from the first weeks that they launched that platform, we have been training agents on how to leverage, right? And in many of those years, I hear all kinds of responses, right? I hear people say, oh, these are not good leads. I hear other people say, we convert 5% of your leads. And I hear people say this doesn't work. And then I have people like Brian here who's saying, oh yeah, this is doing great. So I want to start the call with this. on Facebook, and we'll spend the beginning talking about Facebook, and we'll spend the second half talking about Google. Okay. Brian here, this is in our mastermind group. He has an office, and I signed up their office, I think a year or so ago. He's from Texas, Conroe, Texas, actually the Dallas area. And he's doing a video here showing his agents what can be done with listings to leads. And he's saying, hey, I'm running an ad right now on a sold property. And what he's saying is that this home looked so good, or it worked so well on Facebook, that he got 114 leads on Facebook and converted 4 of those leads into buying transaction, right? So I want to stop there a moment and explain what I just said. If you have a good looking property and it's in a good area and you're running ads on Facebook, you're going to get a lot of attention. But to get 114 leads, you have to pay for those leads. Now we're going to go into the nuts and bolts of how to run an ad here. Our default setting is $35 for an ad on Facebook for buyer. With that, the average cost of a buyer lead on Facebook is about $3 in the US. And so it might be a little less in parts of Texas. It might be a little less for you. It might be a little bit more. But to get 114 leads, you got to multiply 3 by that. And that gets you to about $350, right? So $350, you probably ran multiple ads on this. And he would do this because he owns an office and he wants more buyer leads to give to his agents. That the agents don't often think, but offices and teams do. So I just want you to see that. To get to 114 leads, it costs you about $350. Now he's all excited because he flipped the property in our system to sold, and he runs an ad. When you run an ad for $50 or for listing lead, the value changes to $50. I'm going to show you this in just a moment. He's excited because he ran a $50 ad and converted the first lead into an appointment, and that person wants to sell a home for $400,000 and buy another home for $450,000. So he's telling his agents, you just got to use this. So we'll start here because I think it does not happen every day. It does happen. It does happen. Certainly when you get a lot of leads, if you are focused on converting them, you are going to get business. I will say, I'll give you one pro tip that Brian does that most agents don't do. And that is, when it comes to conversion, he starts by texting. A lot of people feel like they use the term speed to lead, right? Speed to lead. And what that means is if you're getting a lead, you got to call them right away, right? And you know what, guys? Speed to lead, that term was invented before cell phones, before the internet. It just was. And what that doesn't really take into account is that my cell phone's going to tell me I don't know you, or that maybe you're a spam caller, right? And so and so a lot of people don't even take phone calls. And if they do, because they think, oh, maybe I should take this, and then it's you calling to say, hey, I saw, the answer is often like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure many of you experience that. And that's why realtors typically, I think that most realtors make one phone call to a lead, right? And that might be it. I actually have working with an agent like a few months ago, and I don't even know what she was doing, but she was running ads on her properties and getting a lot of leads. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And she said, oh, and I said, what are you doing to convert them? She said, oh, I don't want to call. I don't want to. I don't do anything with these leads. I was like, okay, maybe it's just fun to generate leads. I don't know. But on the flip side, you're doing a service for your client who is trying to sell their home by running an ad, by just showing thousands of people that you have a home for sale. So let's dissect what Brian did there, right? He had a property that was for sale. It was a good looking property. And he just clicked this. He left it on lead ad. So he's getting leads with name, email, and phone number pre-populated from the profile. And he creates an ad. Okay. And this is how you do it. If you're inside of Facebook, it's a lot more complicated than this. Okay. Now, what he can do here is what we're doing is we're pulling what city it's in, and then we're putting that as the location. Right. And one thing worth noting is you can do this even if you don't have your own listings. If it's allowable with your MLS in your office, you can actually borrow a listing and run an ad and capture buyer leads, right? You might have to put something like this, like listing agent is whoever, because that's the local rules, or maybe you don't, right? Maybe if you just have permission, it's always local rules. You can do that. But remember I said it's $35 when you're running a home net for sale. Right. That's our budget. Now, Brian, because he doesn't have an office and he wants to get leads for his agent, he probably bumped that up to $100 each for each ad. And maybe the last one was like 100, right? Or maybe he's getting leads for less than $3 each. Maybe they're $250 each. So whatever the math is, if I run a $100 ad for a home that's for sale, I'm going to get probably 30 to 40 leads, right? Now, I want to talk about a little bit more about lead conversion, because these are still online leads. And the average conversion is somewhere between 1% to 3%. Okay. And that means if you can collect 100 leads, you might have 1 or 3 transactions, right? Now, in Brian's case, over in our mastermind group, he had 114 leads and he converted 4, right? So that's pretty good. That's almost 4%, right? And so don't forget, he's using texting to start getting the people comfortable so that they start talking to him. And using our Facebook software, it gets you phone numbers pre-populated from their profile. So nobody's typing anything in. It's just click, yes. Do you want to do this? Yes. So this is really like a major way to go. And so I just want to explain, I don't know what your conversion process is, right? But let's assume that you're going to do something to convert. You're not going to be like the agent who didn't do anything, just doesn't follow up with lead. If you want to convert 1 lead, you might need 100 leads, right? And now you know that 100 lead can cost you easily $300 to $350. If you get better at that and you convert more, you're going to have a better return. But I think even the conversion of 1 to a $350 spend is going to definitely pay for itself many times. So that's how you get buyer leads on Facebook. And I want to show you what he was talking about at the end of the video, which is he converted the home from for sale to sold. And then he did the same exact thing. And I actually talked to him. I said, hey, did you do anything special on that to make that work? Right. And he said, no, I just used your default stuff, just like I'm doing right here. I just click publish. And he ran a $50 ad. So remember, when you're looking for buyers, it's $35. When you're looking for sellers, it's $50. And the reason why is that Facebook sets the price per lead. Okay. So if I put a $50 ad and Facebook says, okay, we're going to charge you $5 per lead, you could divide 5 into 50 and expect 10 leads, right? Again, with name, email, and phone number. Now, that's actually not the average. The average cost of a seller lead from a sold ad like this is $7 each. So if you spend $50 and you convert, and you would expect 7 leads, 7 times 7 is 40, right? So that's the math and how this works. This works pretty easily. This works pretty well. You can even market homes that are pending, and the language is the same. It's going to get you a listing, right? So early stage properties like coming soon, open house, just listed, or just plain active are going to get you. Let me ask, can you guys hear me? Because I'm getting a weird little thing here, and I'm wondering if my internet is acting. Okay, thanks. Let's go back. So if you're running a property ad on Facebook, that is just listed, coming soon, open house, or active, you're going to get buyer leads. If you run an ad on a home that's later stage, like pending, under contract, or sold, the language is designed to get you a listing lead, basically saying that's going to affect your home value. Click here to get your free. That's try. I do want to point out that you can run landing page ads too. You get unlimited landing pages, and we have a lot. Free home value, down payer assistance. You can run landing pages on your favorite farm markets, and I definitely recommend that. I do think that there's a lot to know about running an ad like that. What is your Livermore home worth, right? You might think that typing in Livermore over here and just launching it is going to work. That might not work depending on where you live in the country. And let me explain to you why this would be the case. What's up with my... So this is Livermore, California. Okay. It's a nice area. It's way off. It's like on the edge of the Bay Area where land becomes farmland, right? Like literally the transition. And so Livermore actually has a lot of wineries, and it's a pretty town. But when we expand out, let me show you this here is a 15-mile radius. It's actually a little less than a 15. So everything here, if I run an ad on Facebook, it's going to minimum 15-mile radius. That means that in this case, in Livermore, probably about 1 million people are going to see this ad that don't live in Livermore, right? And that can make that not work very well, all right? And I want to point out that I created a landing page for Livermore. The photo that you're looking at is on that landing page. It's actually one of the most popular wineries in Livermore, and that's like their holiday lighting stuff, right? So that's going to work because people in Livermore are going to know, like, I know Livermore, right? But what's not going to work is that 15-mile radius is going to show all these people outside of Livermore my ad, and so you might not get great results. That's why I talk often about creating a custom audience, calling it Livermore Homeowners. Now, I don't have one called Livermore Homeowners, but I do have some custom audiences. So if I had one called Livermore Homeowners, it would show up right in that box. I wouldn't use this location, and I would publish. And what I'm saying is I think that getting listings is going to be more competitive in this industry. And I think you're going to have to find a list of homeowners from a third party like Remine or Redx or ListSource or even Cole Resource. I was talking with a lady who's trying to really build out her farm markets, and I told her this. I said, I think you need that list because you need to mail to them. You need to email blast those people, and you need to upload that custom audience to Facebook so that you can do that, And you really want name, phone number, and email and address, but you at least need one of those, the phone number or the email, because when you upload it to Facebook, Facebook uses the number and the name and the email to triangulate, find those people and put them in a list so that when you run the ad, they are on Facebook between these 7 days, they're going to see the ad, right? And that's good because when you bought the list, that those people have equity. You want to buy a list with like at least 5 years equity, right? So that's what I definitely recommend that you understand. When you go over here to the ad section, create an audience, you just click the blue button that says create an audience. And we tell you right here, it's a problem here. I got to apologize, guys, if I'm sneezing or sound stuffy. I got COVID over the weekend, and I'm just now starting to feel a little more human. Anyway, I'm waiting for my page to reload. Create it where the first step of creating an account with us is connecting your Facebook account. And so when you create this audience, it's going to upload this into your private Facebook account. Okay. And the format, what that spreadsheet should look like is just like this with these titles and that contact, that information. Okay. And then you upload it and you import it. And even if you stop working with us, you're going to have that to target those homeowners. So if you're thinking seriously about this, about staying in the industry, you're probably going to want to be really effective at getting more listings. And I will say this, the lady who I referenced and I said she wanted to do this, she found that Coal Resource had the data that she wanted, but it cost her $1,000 a year and she didn't want to do it. So she's going to start with some other parts of our platform and then get that and go in. I'm like, okay, that's good. I don't know if they always cost out that much. You might want to look up listsource.com. I've had people tell me that a list costs them between $50 and $60. But what you're looking for, name, phone, email, address. Okay. And then you can use that list on Facebook by creating a custom audience. You can put it in your CRM and email blast them, and you can then mail to them. And that's really an effective way of hitting that mark. I do want to point out a couple of things. We have a bunch of PDF guides that are branded to you on every page. And a lot of people think about using these in ads, and we designed the system to allow you to do that. But sometimes they're disappointed at the results. And so I want to explain to you a little bit of the psychology of a buyer, right? When you're approaching Facebook. So let's look at the buyer one first, right? And these are recommended 6 things to check out in first time home buyer guide. Maybe that would work. But here's the thing. If you're looking for buyers, let me tell you what buyers respond to. Homes that are for sale. And more specifically, homes that have an open house. Okay. You get a lot of leads that way. If you try to give them something that's like this one, cost of living, are you ready to buy a home? I don't know if they're really going to respond that well to these, right? Actually, they don't. I know from our experience, people really respond, especially when they're buyers, to there's a home for sale. Because like there are all kinds of weird dynamics in the real estate market today. But the one thing that is constant is it's not easy to find a home. It's just not. It might be the price, it might be the interest rates, it might be whatever, but it's just not easy. It's different when you're talking about sellers. Some people will respond to these PDF guides, right? And there are some things that might be straight up important, right? Overpricing, right? That's always going to be a relevant topic. So boom, you can run an ad here. You can type in the name of your core market and have at it, right? Now, do you remember when I said earlier that when you run an ad for a just sold property trying to get a listing, those leads cost about $7 each? These leads, they cost about $10 each. And that one that I was showing you, and so that means if you're running a $50 ad and they're charging you $10 a lead, you're going to get 10 leads, right? You divide 10. Now, in case you don't know, and remember, hold on a second, close this out. When you run an ad, you will see your cost per lead here. You'll see how many leads you have here. And this is our test account. So it's not really showing real numbers. The cost per click. Now this is traffic, and I want to be really clear. Somehow we ran a traffic ad. I'm not quite sure. But here we ran a down payer assistant for local home buyers. We got 2 leads. They each one cost $11.06, right? Notice that 220 people saw the ad. Actually, 187 slowed down to look at it, but we got 2 leads and they cost $11 each. And that's for a PDF guide ad, right? So when we talk about that Livermore one, which is a Livermore landing page, what is your homework? Those are the most expensive leads on Facebook. Those cost often $12 to $15 each. Again, if you're running a $50 ad, you can expect 3, maybe 4 leads, right? That's what you're going to get. Now, all that being said, I want to remind you that converting online leads is about 1% to 3% on average. So you have to think of how you're going to get there. Now, I do want to point out, you remember how I said on our YouTube channel, I have all these classes, including top tools for more listing. There are ways of getting higher quality leads. There just are. And I cover them on this class every time I do it. So if you want listing leads, I'm sorry, high quality listings. If you want listing leads, you definitely want to look at Top Tools for More Listing, because I go in depth on how to get them. And maybe those leads are more effective than Facebook. The interesting or positive thing I have to say about Facebook is two things. I'm going to jump out of this account to prove a point. It's easy. If you just do the basic things which I showed, you pretty much can't lose. You would get lead for your money. If you're like many of our clients who have all kinds of wonderful ideas and I want to try this, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Like, often you can do things that are not going to work. They make sense, right? I do that, but they actually don't work because, well, buyers just look at one thing: homes for sale. Now, Jack is asking, are we charged for previous homes we posted? Does Facebook charge for the landing pages? Are we charged for previous? No, you're not charged for previous homes that we posted. No, that has nothing to do with the ad. Does Facebook charge for the landing pages? Yeah, so you can run ads on properties, on PDF guides, and on landing page. If you're running ads on what is your home worth landing page, those are the most expensive leads. Okay. Those often cost $12 to $15. I hope that makes sense. Now, I'm going to show you an account. This account I set up it's been almost 2 years. And they're like a expansion team for Keller Williams. And what is going on? So all they do, they ignore our whole platform. They just run ads on listings in the 5 offices that they have agents in. And that's all they do. They just run ads and they give those leads to the agents. Right. And I'm going to show you, I want to show you this so that you learn a little bit about cost per lead and also the reach. Right. So when we're looking at these ads here, let's look at the one over here in Jane. We just skip pages. So let's look at it. So this property here it reached 2,200 people saw this. Now 4,000 glossed over it, but 22 actually looked at it. This ad got 20 leads, name, email, and phone number, and the cost per lead was $325. Okay, so that's in High Point, North Carolina. Now, this one, the leads cost $2.44. 41 leads. $100 ad, 41 leads, right? It feels to me like the cost per lead is going down. And I've been looking at the count. Here's one in High Point. So this one's in High Point. This one's in High Point. Why the cost per lead here is 96 cents and the cost per lead here is $3.25. Almost put in within days of each other. Why is that? Honestly, I don't know. It could be algorithms. It could be competition. I don't know. It could be the tides. Who knows why these cost so differently, right? But Facebook sets that price. And the reason why I'm showing you this, it's that you have to understand that in this case, the cost per lead is $6.15. In this case, it's $2.11. It's just when I give you the average, it is only an average, right? What we're looking at here is a live account in the Carolina, right? So let's go back and, actually, I want to go back in there because I want to explain something to you that the Carolina account shows you incredibly well. When we talk about, they're in it with us because we're capturing so many leads and we're incredibly, right? The guy who signed up with us, that's all he does is run ads. So he knows how to run it, right? But he knows that he can't run them as easily as he can with us. So it's definitely worth the money to be using our platform to get better use of his time. But there's something else on this page that you really want to understand. And this is especially true, I would tell you normally for new agents, but it's, I think, probably more important for any agent. Now, I don't know where you all live, like what cities or states, but I'm just going to say you've got 10,000 to 30,000 competitors in your market, right? because I don't know where you live. If you're in a super small town, maybe it's a much lower number. But a lot of big towns, they have a lot of agents. And so how do you get up above the fray? I'll tell you one thing. Now, these guys have run 683 ads. They spend about $100 per ad. And that means they spend about $64,000. Not many agents are going to be doing that. But with that, they have nearly 1,800 leads. If you convert 3% of that, a good amount of money. Another important factor is that a lot of people see this. So for their brand in North and South Carolina, I doubt there are many companies being noticed 4 million times, right? In the course of a year or maybe two, I can't remember. Sorry, it's COVID fog. But that's a lot of impressions in North and South Carolina. So I just want to point that out, that for you as an agent, there's actually, I don't think, a place for you to be recognized as a realtor, because every time you run an ad, it's sponsored by your business name, right? So any questions about Facebook, what I've talked about here? Because I'm going to jump into Google and we'll want to see what we can do with Google. Before I go into Google, I don't see any questions, but if you have them, let me know. I do want to explain a little bit about the dynamics of these two juggernauts, Facebook and Google. Facebook is awesome because we all like to look at what our friends are doing, what our families are doing, what they're eating, whatever I want to shop. My buddy likes to fish. That's just the nonsense that you see. And this is so powerful that American adults spend about 40 minutes every day going through this. They do it on their cell phones. They do it while they're driving their car. Some of you might be looking at Facebook right now, bored of listening to me. It's just that compelling. So 40 minutes a day is a lot for, it's what, 75% of American adults, right? It's the number 3 website in the country. All right. And so that makes Facebook pretty effective. I will tell you this, because Facebook owns Instagram. I don't see a lot of leads coming from Instagram, right? We just don't. But I know a lot of you are interested in it. I use Instagram. It's great for looking at pictures. It's not great for capturing leads. Now, the number 1 website in the country is this website, Google. And 86% of all questions on the internet start here. And one of these questions, and there are many that are relevant to you. What is this? Is this that stupid AI stuff? My home. When you do a search like that, you're going to see who is sponsored, right? Sold 72 sold. They're new here. They were never here. I do this search all the time. I don't think I've seen them here in a long. Realtor.com, Bankrate, right? And so if you're not like on page 1, 2, 3 of a Google search, you don't really need to be on the internet, because it's just not work for you, because nobody goes beyond page 3 and definitely not beyond page 5, right? There's so much that you can get distracted with before that point. And that's a really important thing to know. With our Google software, ad software, that's exactly what we're designed to do, right? We're designed to get your ad on page 1 based on the keywords. Now, these keywords were, how do I sell my home? Right. But there are a lot of words that are relevant. Let's see if I can find that. This is a really great article. I'm going to share this with you right now. This article was written a while back, but I think they found it interesting, and what it's telling you is what are the top words that people are searching for. So I know Emily is interested in Google. I don't know about the rest of you. You should be interested are what people are actually looking for, right? What are they typing in there? So that when you're running an ad, it's going to get some response, right? And open houses near me, how to become a real estate agent. Oh, that's a tough. Okay. If we look here to find buyers, realtor, homes for sale near me, current mortgage rate, right? These are all things that buyers are searching. Cheap old houses. I'm always into that. SEO words for sellers. Sell my home, selling house. Did I sell my house now? Right. This gets refreshed. This article gets refreshed. Last updated February 12th, 2024. I think I sent this to everybody. I highly recommend that you open this up and you save it. If you're going to be thinking of Google or even just about what are people thinking about, you want to review this. So how do we compete on the #1 website in Google? Use our software right here. Now, there are a couple of options. Create an IDX ad, create a landing page ad, and create a PDF guide ad. Also create a custom ad. I don't recommend any of you do that because you would need to know a lot, right? And at this point, I'm going to assume you don't know that. I don't even recommend doing I'm going to give you that answer in a moment now. I don't even recommend creating an IDX ad because when you create an IDX ad, let's just walk like this is going to say, I'm going to say Livermore, right? You're talking about and then create ad. This is going to be, it's a $50 budget. You want to put in your property search page. And maybe you have a unique link for homes that are for sale in Livermore, right? And you put it there and it's a $50 a day budget. Okay. Now, I don't recommend this. Why? Because I just told you a few minutes ago that the cost of a buyer lead on Facebook is $3 and it works really well. I think it's going to be higher here. So I don't know why you want to pay more for leads when you can get good leads on Facebook. So I actually don't recommend doing an IDX search ad. What I do, however, recommend is doing landing page ads and PDF guide ads for listing. Okay. And you hopefully by now that you can have unlimited landing pages for all of your farm market, right? So I've got one here for Miami. So create an ad, right? And all you have to do is create the landing page, type in the word Miami, and hit publish. So Dan had a question. What's the approximate cost per lead on Google? That's a good question. And I don't have the exact number for you, but I'll give you some numbers right now. In Dallas, Texas, if you run an ad like this, and by the way, I'm just going to click on this link. You don't have to do this when you're doing it, but just so you know, I created a landing page for Miami. It looked like this. You would create one for Dallas or any town that you want. And we put a $50 a day budget because in Dallas, Texas, these leads cost $30 each. Okay. And we just make an assumption that for our clients who are running ads in Manhattan, they're more expensive. They might be more expensive in Miami, but I know that $30 per lead in Dallas is real. I know that $22 per lead in Western Pennsylvania is real. And I know that $17 per lead in Utah is like this. And somebody once told me $10 a lead. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are sitting, what city you're in, but Google is definitely an auction-based pricing. So if you have a lot of competition, your cost is going to go up. If you're in Vancouver, Canada, these leads cost $200 to $300 US each, right? So a lot of the younger realtors or newer realtors, they are not wasting their time trying to compete on Google. They build their business on Facebook until they can afford to compete on Google. Okay. I hope that helps you guys understand a little bit about it. However, oh yeah, Toronto. I don't know. Toronto's a funny market. So I don't have any data points down for you there. Yeah, as I said, Vancouver, I'm sure you've got a lot of similar dynamics, cash buyers coming in from out of town kind of stuff. And so that's why the big teams in Vancouver are willing to pay for those leads. because they know how to convert them. They know how lucrative they can be. But for the rest of us, you definitely want to think of your cost per lead, right? Especially. So I will share this with you because I set up the offices and the teams around the country or wherever. And I have been told, I remember being told by a Remax office that they convert 1 out of 70 of our Facebook leads that they generate. And then they said, but we convert 1 out of 40 of your Google lead. And why is that? It's a different thing because if I'm on Facebook and I'm looking at what they're doing and I'm looking at what they ate and I'm whatever nonsense I'm looking at, that's cool. And then you lob an open house in front of me and I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. But if I didn't come here looking for that, I came to Google looking for an answer to my question. And if you are supplying the answer, your likelihood of converting is way higher, right? Because I actually have a problem that I need help with, right? And that is why Google leads are a lot more interesting, right? A lot easier to convert. When this one team was telling me like their leads in Dallas cost $30 each, I was like, that's a lot of money. More expensive than any Facebook lead we see. And he said, yeah, the cost of homes here, it's pretty high. When we sell a home, we make a lot of money. So we're comfortable investing a number of dollars to get that commission because we get money back for that. And so you want to do some back of the envelope kind of ideas to understand what it costs, right? To get this and what you want to invest to earn the commission on selling a home. And like I said, over here, Top Tools for More Listings will give you a lot of different ways, including ways of getting high quality listing leads, right? But Google is a great way, not a cheap way, not an inexpensive. So that's a landing page. And I'm going to do for PDF guide. Now, a PDF guide ad can actually be effective, again, for sellers for a few reasons, right? Because if I'm going and thinking about how do I sell my home or what's the cost of selling my home, right? And I say, okay, I'm going to run an ad here. This might actually be really relevant, right? Now, 5 dangers of vote, right, is going to be relevant to me. I don't want to make a mistake. So I want to learn a little bit. So what would I do? I would type in Turo. And I don't know the cost per lead on these down, right? But these can be relevant. And just so you know, like on a desktop, they look like that, right? So that view is a kind of what this looks like right here, right? Realtor.com is right here. So it's like that. And that's really how this works. So PDF guides for sellers, I think, are a good way to go. PDF guides are also great if you just download them. If you're capturing listing leads, print them, paperclip your business card to them, put them in an envelope and drop them off. You're not going to be collecting hundreds of seller leads a month unless you're putting a lot of money in. So the ones that you do collect, it's good for you to drop that off or mail to them if they're in the neighborhood on a weekly basis, if you want to convert those people, right? But here I'm going to do divorce real estate and kind of just play a point. We create a landing page. So if I click view link, you're going to see the landing page that when people click on this, they're going to land on $50, 7 days. I could spend $350 in a 7-day period, right? Now, you can always change this, and I'll just explain that to you. You can change it to 10, but if the minimum price of a lead on Google is $15, you're never going to get a lead, right? So we put it to 50. We don't really know what the cost per lead is in your area. And Dan, are you using our Google software right now? And I know, Emily, you are. Have you run any ads yet on this? And okay. And so are you not seeing when you go to your ads page, the cost per lead? You should be able to see that on these thumbnails here. Click on Google Ads of your cost per lead, right? So that's how you know there, right? Yeah, Facebook is $2.80. That's good. $3.80. And that's for buyer leads, right? And that's good. That sounds about right to me. Yeah. So yeah, on Google, same kind of thing. That number should flow through, but it is obviously going to be higher. Right. But I want to repeat, I don't really recommend using Facebook to get buyer leads. Why pay more for buyer leads? You do get a higher conversion. I think also that the market has been trained. If I'm looking for buyers, I can go to Google or realtor.com or whatever, and they just know, that's what. But when it comes to selling a home, it's a little more, you need a little more backlight. So let's see here. Now, Emily, you were asking, you wanted to know about this. Do you have any questions about Google that I'm not answering for you? And does anybody have any questions about what they're looking at here and what the program is for Google? I think for me, the thing to think about is, yes, it's a higher cost for Google. Yes, it's a higher quality lead for Google. Right? Yes, both Facebook and Google are pay-per-click advertising, PPC for short. Facebook is the same way. What you're seeing from us is a value. Let me do a landing page app. Click. You're seeing a value that we're putting in there, right? Of this. Now, you could change that value, right? So if I'm doing a landing page for Livermore home value and I type in Livermore and you see it's a $50 a day budget, you could change that. But that's not cost per lead, which you're at. That's cost per click. Yes, that's right. I guess that's probably a better way to look at it. Let's say that I ran an ad and it was based on these keywords. And by the way, I should have shown you this earlier. You don't need to do this, but Advanced Options shows you the keywords we put in here automatically for you. If you go do this by hand, you have to have some keywords. Now, our team knows to go look at that article that I was mentioning and a few others to get the keywords that people are using, right? And you also have to have headlines. You see these are called headlines. You have to have multiple headlines and you need to have descriptions, right? So that's what you have to do if you're doing it without us. We just make it way. And so, but what's happening is if they view the ad, it's interesting, and they click on it, you're paying for that click, right? So Emily, you'll know how many clicks you got, but then you'll know, hey, did I get leads? I got 5 clicks. Did I get 5 leads? And if not, then you might want to do something more effective, right? Customize your page or something. And let me show you, because I don't see agents doing this on Google too much, but I definitely see them do it on Facebook. They create a landing page ad with our default free home value. And our free home values is like this, right? It's got this generic picture of a suburban neighborhood with trees and mailboxes. And on Facebook, they even do it on Facebook and they don't get great results usually because it's just, this one actually says Folsom. Yours won't. It just will be super generic. And you would type in Folsom or whatever town you want, but let's go do it. And actually, let me go change that because Scott was working in that and he was customizing it. So let's see. But the point is you have a free home values page. And if you create an ad for Toronto and you point them to the free home values page, I don't know if that little suburban snapshot is what your area looks like. And so so Emily, speaking to you, what city or state are you in? Your landing page that you're pointing to should really reflect something like that people are going to know. So you can get the click, but maybe it doesn't work. And I'm going to show you something when it comes to landing page creation. I set up Coldwell Banker in Summit, New Jersey a few years ago. And when I set up an office, I train them and I give them calls like this and we do this and we talk in all the ways to get leads. And the manager called me like a month after we launched and he said, we're getting so many leads. And he goes, and the number one home value landing page is the one with the Summit Diner. So he changed that that, not to a nice, beautiful skyline at Summit, but to the local popular diner, right? Where everybody had bacon and eggs on the weekend and that kind of thing. Because when I ran an ad, if you run an ad on Google about what is your Summit home worth, and you drop somebody on a super generic landing page, they're like, I'm out of here. But if you're talking to them in a language that they know, especially because you're asking for their ad contact information, you're going to have a lot better results. Lake of the Ozark. I'm sure there's a lot of beautiful photos that you can have of your area. And yeah, Google would be a good place. That's the majority of all searches begin on Google. There is a cost there. I've already said a couple of times, I had a class called Top Tools for More Listing. And even in this class where you can download that flyer under the More button, there is my outline for Top Tools for More Listings. You should be printing both of these flyers and have them on your desk, because literally if you use those two outlines consistently in your business, grow. And if you're having problems, then you just reach out to us, me, our support team, whatever you want, and get the answers so that you can make this thing work. This works across the country. It works right now. It worked we began in the mortgage meltdown in 2009. And this works in hard times. It works in fat times. The trick is you have to use the tools consistently. That is the trick, right? If you do it consistently, you're going to find it can be really beneficial to your business. Build your brand, capture leads, and grow your business. So are there any questions at the end of my story? I think the only thing I did, we did talk about custom audiences. Yeah, good. My head is a little foggy today. Everybody, thank you for joining me. This call has been recorded and it will be on the YouTube channel later today. I do want to say just one more time, if you want more, watch a couple, 2 or 3 of my Top Tools for More Listings class. You'll really get the understanding of what you need to be doing. And thanks for joining me here today. Enjoy the rest of the summer.